White shirts on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London stand strong, in the stands they belong. Voices echo like thunder, to the club they sing along. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. King's fire in his eyes, glory's what he seeks. With every goal he flies, rising to new peaks. From the lake to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. From the lane to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. With all our might. With all our might.
All I'm going to say is your bollocks. I was wondering what...
You haven't aged a day there, mate. It just started. You haven't
I
aged a
haven't
day.
aged. No, as I said to my young lad, he wished me happy birthday. I said, "Yeah, I've reached 48 and getting stupider." That's what it seems like to me. I've reached that degree. Thank you so much, Colin, and Tequila, for doing that. Yeah, thank you.
A special intro.
Thank you so much. But welcome, guys. Yeah, welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham, past, present, and future, and an exciting future. Sorry, Tequila, under Ange Postecoglou, who has taken us to Wembley tomorrow. Woohoo! All above the Wembley train. Man United ain't going there because Man United are out of the League Cup.
And anyway, and more importantly, welcome to MUFC Spotlight, the best Manchester United channel in the land.
I was going to welcome you in, by the way, but joining me on this special stream, because we have joined forces to protest about the owners of our club, of course, from MUFC, Column, of course, on here as well, and the main man from Cork, who thinks himself as president of the Republic of Cork. Now, I know the lads below me think there should be their own island of Ireland. Ireland's divided enough, lads. All right, we've already been divided once, so we don't need it divided again.
It's fine.
But if you're going on your own, me and Tequila come to join you. But joining me, of course, is my co-host, the man of many voices. We don't know what he looks like. He could be Daniel Levy. He could be Joe Lewis. He could even be Ange Postecoglou. But all we know, he is one of the nicest men on YouTube, one of the nicest people off YouTube, and he's my mate, and of course he's your mate. It is the one and only T. Cundy. How are you, T. Cundy, this evening?
Okay, mate. I'll be any of those three, mate. They're all loaded, especially Lewis, mate. I'll be Lewis. I'll be on my yacht and I'll be with women half my age. Sign me up.
This is supposed to be a serious protest show, by the way.
Mate.
No, and join us below, of course, from MUFC Spotlight. Of course, Column, as you see on here, is Column and Rebel. Column, how are you, sir? And Rebel, how are you both? And are you a little bit angry with Man United at the moment?
Little?
Understatement at century, that, isn't it, Rebel?
Just a little bit, yeah. I'd just like to draw attention to the clock behind me because obviously, as we know, tomorrow is the anniversary of the Munich air disaster, and I am going to be referring to that during part of this discussion that we're having tonight. But I just want to take a moment to remember those that were lost on the day, because obviously these events are something that transcend football, like the Hillsborough disaster and a couple of others that have happened throughout the years.
Mm. Yeah.
It is worth remembering tomorrow is going to be a really important day. Many people lost their lives in that, not just footballers, journalists as well, by the way, pilots, anyone. It really shows the football authorities haven't changed, have they much, guys? I just want to start on this first. Because if people don't know the Munich air disaster, Man United weren't really supposed to leave Munich that day. It was only because the FA had put pressure on them to come back to play a league game. Now, back in the 50s, English clubs weren't really enthusiastically allowed to go and play in Europe. And as Manchester United, they were probably the first teams to play in the European Cup, were they, guys? I think Man United were the first ones, the English clubs anyway.
I'm not sure exactly for the first, but we're obviously amongst those that were well known. I think Forest were in and around early doors as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think Forest might have beat us to it as being the first.
So, I mean, you had some great plays in your back in them days. The first Busby Babes, Duncan Edwards, one of them. Any more players that you can bring out from that time? Because you did have a special team, didn't you, back in them days?
We did, didn't we? I mean, God. I'm just trying to think. I've actually got the DVD of it, not the actual disaster, of that team, United, because I actually know one of the actors that was in it. So he gave me a signed copy. I always tend to watch it. I probably will be watching it tomorrow, because I always do tend to watch it around this time of year, to be fair.
There is a film as well, didn't they? The man that played Doctor Who, he plays Jimmy.
United. Yeah, it's United. That's the film.
Yeah, it's a very good film. I would recommend that. No, you should do Tequila. It is a very, very good film. But our thoughts and prayers are with all Man United tomorrow, and the fans and the families who lost, not just players, the journalists as well. And it was a time, guys, when football really came together, wasn't it? Every club was offering Man United players. You got to a cup final, I think, that year, if I remember rightly. And I think you lost in the final. But look, you did come back. Busby came back, and you did win that European Cup in 1968. But we were the first team to win the European trophy for you lot. Just putting it out there.
Can I just point out as well that a very rare and unusual occurrence also happened in around that time, where we had three players playing together that all won what we now know as the Ballon d'Or. Mr. Georgie Best, Mr. Dennis Law, and Mr. Charlton.
And all three no longer with us.
All three no longer with us as of recently.
Yeah. Do you know what I was saying? We were talking about Irish players in our group chat, weren't we, Colin Tequila, last night? And we were bringing up like Stephen Carr and the Ginger Pele in Gary Doherty. Robbie Keane, of course. I was watching Robbie Keane last night, and I just love Robbie. I know Tequila's a big fan of Robbie Keane and Berbatov.
Oh, yeah.
But Georgie Best, what a player, guys. I'm even from a Spurs point of view, what a player. I know he had his demons. We know he had his problems, but Jesus Christ, could that player play? He really was.
Georgie Best is going to go down in the history of football as one of the greatest players to ever grace the pitch. You know, when you think of football players, I mean, I went to Zakynthos a couple of years ago in the Greek islands, and I was walking around in a Manchester United shirt. And people that I don't even know came up to me and started talking to me about Best, you know, and how wonderful on the pitch he was. And yeah, I think it's just when you think of Man United, he's just, you know, it's just there. It instantly just comes to your head.
It's a bit like Tottenham for us, isn't it, Tequila, with Jimmy Greaves and Danny Blatchford, people from them eras, Glenn Hoddle as well, isn't it? It's the same for us, isn't it?
Yeah, we've
If
got.
you look-
I was about to call them legacy players, but if I said that, there, mate, that would trigger you because you hate the word legacy.
I do hate the word.
Don't you?
What you got there? What you got there?
That
Ross?
is a George Best 404 trading card with a patch from one of his player-worn jerseys that I have in my personal collection.
Wow.
And I'd just like to point out as well that Pele actually called him the greatest ever player that he'd seen.
He did. If you look at Tottenham, you look at United and all the legendary players they've had in the past, Tequila, who would stand out for you? Would it be like Hoddle and Jimmy Greaves and players like that?
I think Hoddle for me is probably the standout. Jimmy Greaves, of course, there's no denying him. I mean, he had our goal scoring record up till
Recently.
Kane took it a couple of years ago. And there's other players who maybe don't get quite the limelight like Holder does. But as you know, Dermo, and I missed most of that. I've been subjected to the ENIC dross.
And this is for you. This is why I feel sorry for you guys, because look, you and Colin are quite younger. Me and Rebel are probably the same age. Both in our, how can I put it politely? We're both in our late 40s.
Rebel's only 32.
Well, I'm 21 today, so I don't know what you lads are. I'm younger than all of you.
Rebels turned 18 just the other day, mate.
Yeah, I know. Me and Rebel, we look old, but we're really young. We're really young.
I'll only be 40 this year.
Rebel was born in 1958.
So technically, I'm older than the fucking lot of you. Fuck the lot of you then.
Yeah,
old timers. We've got to, we're doing our charity deeds.
Got to respect our elders, don't we?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You do. Look, I want to start with our football clubs, and this is tonight's very special stream. Look, all joking aside, of course, everyone, please remember the Munich Air tragedy tomorrow, and I will be holding a minute's silence before our own watch along for everyone connected with that disaster and Manchester United. So we will do our bit on here, guys. So please do support me and support us on that. Look, tonight's a very important stream. Ourselves, THFC Till I Die, and MUFC Spotlight are now coming together as one on this. We both have owners that are destroying our clubs. We both have owners that are destroying the legacy and the history of our clubs. And fans like Tequila and myself, Rebel and Colum, who love our clubs, who love our team, who love what we stand for, are now being wilted away by owners that don't care about anything. So we're doing this stream as a protest, and we're going to continue this protest until both owners are gone. We were doing special streams between now and when they're gone. We were doing this again. We were doing special videos as well. I'm sure me and Colin or Rebel and Tequila will be doing, all four of us will be doing this today. So I want to go around the houses first. Tequila, what does it mean to you to get our owners out of our football club? What would it mean personally to you?
Well, I've said recently that how I find myself kind of at a quandary where I have very little to love about my club from top to bottom. And you know how I feel about the manager. I don't need to go into it, but the bottom line still is that even though I have problems with the manager and some of the senior players, it still is the guys at the top who are the root cause of it all. You know, they're the custodians of the club. And for 24 years, 25 years now, you can say that there was an initial push from ENIC to increase the profile of the club, which they did, to a certain level where we were probably regarded as a European team, which we weren't in the 90s. But after that, they have dug their heels in, so to speak, and they have refused to push us any further than that. And I think all us fans really want is to be competing. I think that I know we're all kind of saying we want a trophy and we should be competing every year. I don't think it's that realistic to be competing every year, but we should be competing over the years. And with the exception of we've been in a couple of finals. We've been in a couple of finals, couple of cup finals, 2 or 3. But we've never really been competing for the league, bar that one season where Leicester won. That one season, that kind of freak season almost, right, where Leicester won. Other than that year, we've never been in contention. So that's what I want. I want to be competing for stuff. I don't actually care if we win them, but I want to be there or thereabouts. I want to be in the conversation, as they say. You want to be fighting for something.
I agree with you.
That's what I want. I'm not being super greedy by saying, "Oh yeah, we've got to win the trophy every year." No, not at all. But you want to be in and about the conversation.
You want to be in. You want to be in it to win it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and also I think you want to have hope for the future. And I, at least from my perspective, I have none of that right now, which is why I'm so down on my team right now. And I imagine probably Com and Rebel will probably say the same things about their current United squad.
Yeah,
like the future doesn't look very promising. And I think that's the worst. I think that's the worst thing, Dermo. When I don't think you've got the future looks bleak. That's a horrible feeling.
It is, but I think it's worse for the lads below, and I let them explain that. I think it's worse for them below because of the situation the club find themselves in. Financially, nearly broke. Financially in ruins. A club name that's now been dragged through the mud. A club institution that has been dragged through the mud. So, Colin and Rebel, look, same question to you two guys. How do you feel about your club at the moment?
I suppose for me, the last positive memory of Manchester United where we looked like a football club, it was Ferguson's last season. We were going for our 20th league title, and Robin Van Persie scored that wonderful volley against Villa, which pretty much was the signing of that 20th title. But I want to take you back to when Joel and Avram had the club delivered to them by their father, Malcolm Glazer. And I just want to talk to you about Old Trafford, the physical structure, not Manchester United Football Club. And it saddens me what has happened to that stadium since the day that they became custodians. It was one of the finest stadiums in England, second probably only to Wembley at that point, when they got a hold of it. If they had any bit of care and attention applied to that stadium, we would not be looking at the butt of the jokes, which is the Old Trafford waterfall, the Old Trafford swimming pool, the jokes about the toilets being a sea of urine. Like, they literally allowed a magnificent stadium to become dilapidated, and to the point where Ineos, and we'll be talking about them later, have even decided that it's not worth trying to fix it. So all that history, we talked about Manchester United remembering the Munich air disaster. There's so many memorials to that team within the walls of Old Trafford as we know today. And I hope and pray we do not lose them because of the fact that because our club was run so badly and they allowed our stadium to pretty much eclipse what the football team's doing at the moment, fall to ruin, it saddens me. And when you look at what we've spent, 1.43 billion in transfer fees since Fergie retired. If you said to me that I'm going to bring the Trevi with me, we're going to take over the operations of Tottenham Hotspur, I guarantee you the four of us could put together a better squad with 1.43 billion than what Manchester United done in the last 13 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. Colin, look, I know you and me talk quite regularly about the state of our clubs. You and me do have we do have a lot of conversations, don't we, on the state of the clubs, and we sort of moan to each other. I think it's the best way of putting it. But I think you and me together are sort of like our own support network. What's happening, or therapist group between the pair of us. I'm moaning about Spurs and you're moaning about Man United, and we leave the phone calls thinking, I just feel better after talking about that. Look, Man United, I know how much it means to you and Rebel, like how much Spurs mean to me and Tequila. How much you grew up in 99, a bit like Tequila, so you're a fan that wasn't around for the whole of Fergie's sort of major success, but the tail end of it. But you've got players behind you, Garancio, Fernandes there. You've had players like Wayne Rooney. You've had players like, I don't know, Brian Robson. Players of the past that Brian McClare, Steve Bruce, Eric Cantona, Lee Sharp, who I think who was a good player, Ryan Giggs, the class of '92. How angry are you seeing your club like this, and how mentally tough has it been for you? Because it is mentally tough when we go through. How mentally tough has it been for you, man, seeing United go through this?
Yeah, I mean, I know obviously people say football is just a game, it shouldn't affect your life, but it really does, especially when you support clubs like what we do, where it isn't a choice, it's a lifestyle. You're born into being a fan of a club, like I'm sure Rebel probably has a story about his forefathers saying the same thing as what my granddad used to say to me. You don't choose to be a Man United fan. You are born a Manchester United fan. You don't have the privilege of choosing. You're born into it. So, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I remember watching Sharpie and, Beckham, Giggs, everyone like that coming up, Irwin, all these players. And it was a great time to be a Man United fan, but I don't even want to watch the games anymore because I know for a fact when it's finished, my mental state is gone because I'm watching the club that I've loved, my forefathers before me have loved, and it's not the same club anymore. Manchester United aren't a football club. We're a laughing stock. We're a company run by greedy CEOs. That is what we are.
And that's what Tottenham are as well. Just to give you an update, Newcastle are 1-0 up against Arsenal. I'm sure see, Tequila's happy already. It's going to be a Tottenham-Newcastle final, I'm telling you, tomorrow. Look, we've got a lot to go through. We've got questions, we've got talking points, we've got PDFs as well, guys, to go through. As I said, if this is one of these shows where you expect us all to muck around and have a laugh, it ain't a show for you. This is a serious protest about the state of our football clubs, about the state of how the Premier League have let owners in ruin our institutions. They don't belong to them. Manchester United does not belong to the Glazers. Tottenham Hotspur doesn't own Joe Lewis or ENIC. We, the fans, own them. If the fans didn't go to games, you saw it through COVID. There's no passion. There's no nothing. We own the football clubs. Me and Tequila, we own Tottenham Hotspur. Rebel and Column own Manchester United. One of many millions of fans. But we are the owners, not Lewis, not nobody. So we are going to go through a lot of the money. How Manchester United are in the state, I do not know. And the question I will be asking at the end is Sir Jim Levy in disguise? He's doing a lot of things that Levy did at Tottenham. Jim Ratcliffe is now repeating them at Manchester United. So we've got a lot to go through, talking points and everything. But guys, I want to welcome a few people in and then we will get cracking. Big up to Wayne Bonner, if he's a member. Sup, players, hope you're all well. I mean well. Tequila, do you want to say anything about this Tell signing, by the way? Because one person on YouTube was crying a lot about this. So, do you want to do your T Cundy thing? Should I get this going? You ready?
I'll give it a go, but you haven't given me much time to prepare.
Oh, so do you want to do it later on in the show?
No. I mean, I would have written stuff down and stuff earlier on.
Okay.
No, I'll give it a go. I'll try it off the cuff, as they say.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to press the button?
I need the ducks first. Can't do it without the ducks.
Oh yeah, it's not the ducks. It's this.
Oh, I thought I was doing the ducks.
Okay, we do ducks. And then there you go.
Has anyone seen Mark Goldbridge? Can you hear me? Mark Goldbridge, you took one hell of a beating. We tell you so. Mark Goldbridge, Nottingham Forest fan, can you hear me?
There you go.
I love it.
It's funny, but if you knew things I know, you wouldn't be laughing as much.
I didn't want to go in on United, so I tried to get it to Denmark's mate Goldbridge, and I know about the Nottingham Forest stuff, and that's that one.
Can I just say, Tequila,
the rumoured Nottingham Forest stuff.
Yeah. You're better at Jason Cundy for doing that, to be fair.
Nah, he's got much more practice than me.
No.
That's his stick, man.
Yeah,
He's
big
got all
up
his
Wayne.
research. He's got all his research. He's doing it all for him as well.
Yeah, but Tequila does it himself. This is why Tequila's the legend he is. Big up to the Normality channel with Riley Taylor. Hey there. Watching you and Chelsea versus West Ham in the semi-final of the Subway Women's League Cup. Big up to you. As a Chelsea fan, I can't laugh at the troubles that Man United is facing. I want the Glazers to go. Wayne Bonner says the Glazers are pricks. I don't think anyone would disagree with you there. Big up to Jordy. You're 1-0 up. We'll be seeing you in the final, sir. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. An Irishman, Jay Murphy. I mean, how more Irish could you get? Puts Newcastle in the league. Probably not Irish, but probably his great-great-great-granny's Irish. Come on, you Geordies. Come on, you Magpies, Miss Geordie. A lot of black and white, like a Murphy. And he says, on fire. On fire. Big up the Wayne Bonner. At least Levy has the club financially sound and solid. The one good thing he has done. Dark days in the past. We are going to talk about that as well. Big up Wayne. It's the FA allowing these clubs to be owned and run by people who don't care about the football, the community, the supporters. Get the punters in their seats, put out a shirt, product, they'll come. We're going to talk about that as well. It's a very good point, actually, Neil. Well done. Big up Dwayne Tequila. Sounds like a coked up LA night.
Well, that's calm. That is commentating night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you three are talking about. I really need to get into you three to teach me wrestling.
Yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
Apparently, my young lad told me to say to you, Randy Savage
Ooh,
and
yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something about getting together for a protest or something. I said you three might know about it, so I said I would mention it.
Yeah, the only thing I mentioned about Hogan is boo.
Not the nicest of people is Mr. Hogan, Dermo.
He did
No,
star in
it's not.
Rocky 3, didn't he?
Thunderlips in the flesh, baby.
Thunderlips, in Rocky 3. I still reckon the first Rocky films are brilliant. Rocky 5 was a bit shit, and then it just went off the cliff then. Rocky 1 to 4 are good. Big up to Milton. Hope you're well done. Big up the panel. It's a show and a tail party. I love it. I love it.
I'm just going to say it now. He went to you because Man United and Arsenal pulled out of the deal. Don't get too excited.
Tequila, do you want to answer that? I mean, he come to us because we're the bigger club.
No, well, you can think.
Dermo, I can't. You know my feelings on it, mate. He looked absolutely depressed to be here.
If he scores the winner tomorrow night, I don't care what he is. If he gets us to Wembley, I don't give a shit.
No, I hope he does well. I hope the kid does well. He's a good player.
Harry Kane had a big say in that signing as well, by the way. And
Well,
Odegaard as well.
I've got news about Harry Kane as well. So
Is he coming back to the lane?
later.
Coming back to the lane?
I'll tell you that later.
By the way, Dermo, in terms of the argument of who's the bigger club, it's like two ballmen fighting over a comb in terms of Manchester United and Spurs at the moment.
No, we're
You
the
know
bigger
what?
club 'cause we're one place ahead of them.
Two bald men fighting
Wow.
over a-
It doesn't matter if we're 13th. We're still ahead of them.
Apologies to any baldies that are watching. You know, we don't mean to offend anyone.
Can't offend anybody. I'm bald. This is a wig.
Is it? You're like Donald Trump with his wig.
I am. That's why I've got headphones on all the time to keep it in place.
Don't get Tequila started with Donald Trump. He starts
Eating the cats and the dogs. Eating the dogs.
See what I mean? You just mention it and he just continues. Right. First question, guys. I'll put this to you, Colin. I've sort of done 4 questions, one for each of you lads. So this is one's just for you, Colin, and it can open up into a debate as well. Does football ownership rules need changing? Do the Premier League and FIFA and UEFA need to change the rules?
I mean, they've already changed the rules for profit and sustainability reasons wise. I mean, the Glazers made them change the rules with the way that they forced their way into Manchester United. Has it stopped anything else from happening? I mean, you can kind of say yes, it has, but then you got to kind of look at the Todd Bowley situation that's happened, you know, and he's just thrown money at the club, which has worked out this season. Fair play to him, but I don't think there's anything they can do. To be honest with you, I think they've got all. I mean, we speak to our source, who obviously gets a lot of information about what's going off when it's happening and all that stuff. And to become a football owner is now very, very hard. There's a very strict policy in place now. So I don't think there's anything else they can do.
Look, Tequila. Look, I look. We saw how Levy took over Tottenham with Alan Sugar, bought the shares. They bought multiple shares from 1991 onwards, and built up their own sort of block of buying Tottenham. And the Glazers did it in a totally different way when they bought Manchester United. Do you think? Look, do you feel Alan Sugar, being our previous owner, doesn't get the credit he deserves for what he did for our football club, for saving our football club? And we hounded him out, and we got worse in. Do you feel sorry for Sugar in a way? Because I think he should be praised more for what he did do for our club than
I
he
don't know
does.
if I feel sorry for him. See, the problem with Alan Sugar is because he's become his own kind of celebrity, and of course he does. In case you don't know them, I'm sure you do. He does like The Apprentice and stuff over here, so he's become like his little bit of celebrity. So he gets a lot of stick for that. But he was a Spurs fan, and for all intents and purposes, he did have the best interests of the club in mind. I mean, yeah, of course, like most businessmen, of course, he probably wanted to, in the long term, get money back on his investment. But I do believe he was a Spurs fan. I don't believe Daniel Levy particularly is a Spurs fan, and we know there is a fact that Joe Lewis doesn't even bother coming to the games. Dermot. I don't think he even comes anymore, but I think he used to come for like one game a year at the start. I don't think he even bothers doing that anymore. So we know under ENIC that they are not Tottenham fans. And speaking of, we'll get to Sir Jim later on, but there is actually a little bit of kind of a parallel with Sir Jim, because Sir Jim obviously had stakes in other clubs, just like ENIC used to. If you remember, they had little bits of stake in Rangers, and I think Slavia Prague or something, and there's another European team I could be forgetting. So there is like little parallels there of investments in other teams before they got their hands on a quote unquote big club, I suppose, and then have gone all in on it. So there is a parallel there that we can talk about later, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rebel, you put up there. Sir Jim is Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a Chelsea season ticket holder. He comes up with all this BS that he loves the club and he wants the club to succeed. You've got the Glazers saying the same thing. Martin Edwards and the Edwards family own Manchester United, I think, since the 40s or the 50s, didn't they? Or was it around that sort of era they came in?
We'd have had Edwards, and then we had the two Irish boys, and they came on board, and there was the whole controversy around a certain racehorse, which obviously isn't the topic of today's show. But we were a healthy, financially sound club prior to the Glacier event of the 2000s.
I mean, the last time you went into debt and you needed helping was 1931. That was the last time you needed financially bailing out. So between 1931 until when the Glazers took over, Manchester United were never in debt. I mean, why did everyone praises Sir Alex Ferguson, but he was the one that helped the Glazers in. So why does he not got any of the blame, guys? I mean, you're both United fans. You're both.
I will tell you exactly why, Dermo. I'll tell you exactly why. It's the same reason Sir Jim Ratcliffe is. Oh, my camera stopped. Is there now because he was lied to, and like I said, I've told you I had some information. We will get into it when we get to Sir Jim. But Sir Alex Ferguson was lied to by the Glazers. It's straight up fact. We know you are. The Glazers have come in and said, right, we're going to back you. We're going to give you all this money, this, and this, and we're going to make sure that you stay on top for years to come. Yes, he stayed on top for years to come. But the Glazers didn't front that money. They bought the club on debt. So we were already in a bad situation there. They have put £45 million of their own money into the club. They have taken out 1.1 billion in dividends from the club.
fuck.
Can I just point out one thing, Colin? You mentioned the word bought.
Well, sorry,
And,
stole.
They financially maneuvered through clever accounting practices, utilizing the former employer of Mr. Ed Woodward to front the money until they could transfer it into what is now the holding company of Manchester United Football Club, essentially having the club pay and buy itself from its previous owners is what they actually managed to manufacture.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And the correct standing at this point in time is 1.3 billion, not 1.1 billion. That's how much they've took out of Manchester United. 1.3. And this is why when people say to me, but they've backed the managers, they've given United money to spend. Go look, the numbers are there. They haven't. Everything that Manchester United spend, this is why Man United can't spend. This is why Man United are absolutely up shit's creek without a paddle right now. Because we require European football, ticket sales, and merchandise sales in order to put that money into the budget. Sir Jim's come in and he's like, he's promised X and Y and everything, but by laws of FFP, he cannot just go and put money into the club. It has to come from somewhere. He can't just do it. The same as any other chairman, owner, or whatever. They can't just go, right, I'm just going to write a check for £1 billion. There you go and spend it. It has to come from outside sources such as sponsorships, etc., etc. And as we can see, I mean, Rebel will vouch for me here as well. As we can see, the sponsorship deals that Manchester United are signing at the moment are not great. We've lost Vodafone. I mean, we've got Snapdragon, is it we've got at the minute? I mean, they were planning
on Snapdragon.
They were planning on pulling out as well last season. So everything that's going wrong at Manchester United can go wrong, and it is.
I mean, Tequila. I mean, look. When you look at Daniel Levy, right? Football side, yeah, we can complain, and that's why we want them out, because he doesn't back managers. He doesn't do well the football side, but on the business side, we're a lot healthier than Manchester United at the moment, aren't we? You look at all the sponsorship deals we've got coming in. We've got a stadium that is sourced out to other revenues, other incomes. So, do you know, people might find it very hard why we want our owners out when you look at the state of Manchester United. But if you're looking at it from a business point of view, Daniel Levy cannot be faulted, can he, really? And I'm just trying to be balanced here.
No, as far as making a self-sustaining entity, which technically is what every football club should aspire to be, then you can't really fault the man. Now, I still think he's made some bad business decisions. I don't think he treats the fans very well. We know about taking away the concessions from the older fans and stuff like that, and ticket prices. We could get into the whole him lying to us about the stadium and stuff like that. He certainly doesn't respect the fans. He doesn't respect the fans' money. He refers to us, well, in chat demo, legacy fans. He's called us and almost like we're clients. And unfortunately, that is kind of how he views us fans. So, whilst yes, I can't knock him for bringing finances to the club, I don't think he respects the fans. Maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe that's not required to run a football club. I don't know, but I don't trust him. I don't think most people do trust him. I don't know if he's got. I don't think he particularly has Spurs' future best in mind. It's more about lining his own pockets whenever they make that sale, whenever that is, and they get 1,000 times or whatever they bought the club for. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. He'll keep the club afloat. He'll keep the club in a decent shape until he sells up. But I don't think you're going to convince me that he generally has Spurs' best interest.
No. I mean,
he's got ENIC's best interests.
Yeah,
if I could
exactly.
jump in quickly as well to back Keeler up here. I've got some figures here from 2011, 2012 seasons, 2021 season. And it is 14 clubs that have received the most funding from their owners in that 10-year period. So Inter Milan are first with €997 million. AC Milan on 915. Chelsea 791, City 773, Paris Saint-Germain 511, Everton 506, Juventus 417, Leicester 383. Leicester are on there. Arsenal, 239, Atletico Madrid 170, Wolves 148, Borussia Dortmund 141, Liverpool 124, and the final club, West Ham 92. So you're not even in the top 15 in the last 10 years from that period. And neither are we.
It shows how shocking both clubs are. Tequila, do you want to say anything to Carl? Member for 10 months. I just want to thank you for your loyalty and your support, man. Really appreciate it. Always good in the chat. Does do a good job modding the chat as well for us as well, by the way. Tequila, do you want to say anything to Carl?
Yeah, and Carl's a funny dude. I think we all know that. He joins us on WhatsApp. He gets involved and always makes us laugh. He comes on when he can do, even though his phone is really bad last night, bless him. So, and very, very loyal guy and very funny. So, always good for a laugh is Carl. Even when he gets upset, it still makes me laugh. Sorry, Carl.
I know. And also big up to Neil Shafton, who's been a member for 18 months, nearly a year, over a year and a half. Is that 18 months, a year and a half?
Yeah, 18 months is a year and a half,
Yeah. Big up to Neil.
He's telling Carl to suck it, Carl.
Yeah. And also big up to Neil as well. Really nice man. It does get involved in the groups as well. Guys, Colin, I know you're part of this channel as well. Colin, sorry. The brain's gone. Do you want to say anything to Neil for 18 months and Carl for 10 months?
Yeah, big up to both of them. Obviously, massively helps the channel keep growing as well. Unfortunately, I can't put my member sticker in there because it's not due yet, but I'd be saying suck it as well. But
yeah. And can I thank you again for the intro? Very shocked to see that. Someone then brings back so many memories of the channel, and it's gone through some. Yeah, so thank you so much for that, Colin and Tequila. I knew you two be planning something. What I didn't know, but
I'm always planning something.
I know. Thank you.
Just
It really
say
means
that
a hell of
bearded
a lot.
Dermo looks like an accountant.
Yeah.
Are you calling him a see you next Tuesday?
Not at all. And he actually looks like an accountant.
What, with the beard?
With the beard.
Yeah. Yeah. He probably is calling me to see you next Tuesday. You know what Cork lads are like. Have their own sense of humor.
Now. I'm from Kerry. I just live in Cork.
Well, how come you sound like a Cork man?
She lives in Cork.
I'm here 17 years, so probably
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But I tell you one thing, Wexford's still the best county in Ireland. Forget Kildare and forget Cork. Wexford's the best county. We have special strawberries down here.
Medicinal strawberries.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called there, my strawberries?
No, I tell you very quickly, strawberry. We had a boat full of special medicine turn up on one of our beaches last summer. And let's put it this way, all the packets went missing. And let's put it this way, the strawberries got very special. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Big up to Neil. He says, "Cheers, Neil. I was a member back before memberships with Tottenham Tantrum Gold. God, that is back at the start of the channel's life. And then the birthday message will turn up after the stream demo. Big up, Carl. Thank you so much. I really mean it. Means a lot. Right, I've got some PDFs, guys, to go through. So this is how much both clubs pay in wages for the upcoming 24-25 season. Manchester United are second in the top 10 with a spending of 190,320,000 in wages. Tottenham are 8th, 104,806,000 pounds. Can I just say that there was a graph out the other day? I wanted to go with you with this on the Tottenham side of it, Tequila, and then I'll go on the Man United side with Rebel and Column. We had a wage ratio of paying wages at 42%, the lowest in Europe. Aston Villa have a wage ratio of 92%. Levy is trying to buy success with low wages. It just doesn't work, does it? You won't get the players. Players, aren't they, Tequila? Really and truly, players are money merchants, aren't they?
Yeah, and
and this is one of Levy's downfall, I think. See,
Mm.
he's penny pinching. He's trying to save as much money as he can, and you understand. And in business, I get it. I do get it.
Mm.
But in football, it doesn't really work. And the thing is, we've heard some rumours, Dermo, and I've mentioned this to you before. I can't tell you if they're true or not. Of course, neither one of us is there. Com might have a bit more knowledge about this, but there's rumours being that one of the reasons why Daniel Levy likes to wait until the end of the window. There's two reasons. One, because he wants to get a deal, right? He thinks clubs will become more desperate. Thing is, it works the other way as well. Spurs also become more desperate as well, as we've just seen in the last window. But also because if he waits till the end of the window, especially the summer window, he hasn't got to pay wages for those 3 months. There's rumours going around that is one of the reasons why he tends to wait till the end of the window, because he doesn't want to pay the extra 2 or 3 months' wages. And that says to me that is a man that he runs a very tight ship, but like a suit too much. He's too much obsessed with it, too much looking for the deal. So if that's true, that tells you all that he will not want to pay any, as little wages as possible. And it's one of the rumoured reasons as well, Dermo, that maybe Ange is still in the job because he doesn't want to pay the 10 million or so to get him out. And then especially if he goes after another manager from another team, he's going to have to pay compensation.
Well, that was the reason he sacked Mourinho, because if Mourinho got to that final, he would have had extended his contract or pay him a bigger payout, sort of when he got sacked, a bigger and paying off his wages. So that's why he sacked him 6 days before a cup final. Says all about your man, doesn't it? Really. And
also, I think because Pochettino he really did overachieve. If you look at it. I think Levy expects every manager to be able to do what Pochettino did, and no manager has been able to do it since, including our current one. As much as I dislike him, Conte couldn't do it either. Really, no, he couldn't really. Even though you can say that Conte's first season, where we finished 4th, kind of was a massive overachievement if you really think about it. No, it was. But Levy expects every manager to do what Poch did, and the truth is that most managers, as you've just said, most managers can't turn water into wine. They can't do so well with such little resources. Not many managers really can do that.
No, guys, look, Tequila's dropping the mic all over the place tonight. I mean, he's chucking out truth bombs left, right, and centre over there. Big up to you, Tequila. You're like a prone striker, banging them in every game.
I've had 20 years of hating Levy, mate. It's a lot of evidence coming. I've got a lot of evidence to go back on.
Yeah, easy. I think I would. Guys, you look at Manchester United, 190,320,000 in wages for the 24-25. That's with estimates.
It's crazy.
Where are you guys with it? I mean, that is. Where are you with it with that? That's nearly 200 million.
If I can quickly say something to the two United lads. You've got double our wage, and to only be one place higher than us, considering you pay double our wages.
So before Rebel decides he's going to go batshit crazy, and I'm going to let him do his thing. I'm going to let him drop his pipe bomb and destroy everything. What I will say is that number will be significantly lower next season because of the likes of Casemiro leaving, Rashford, etc., etc. But on that note, Rebel, pipe bomb away.
190,320,000 constitutes gross negligence on behalf of the people that were employed to deal with contracts at Manchester United Football Club. 50 million, and I say it again, 50 million of that is 5 players: Casemiro, Rashford, Mount, Maguire, and Shaw. Shaw basically gets injured every time he sees a blade of grass at this point, and should probably have never gotten the last contract extension. Rashford, I'd like to meet the man that actually decided that it was a good idea to pay him 300,000, because he clearly was on the good Wexford Strawberries that day, because there was no way in heck that man should ever have gotten 300 grand. I think he went from 170,000 to 300 grand. That was ludicrous. He's currently the 3rd highest paid player at Manchester United Football Club. And the only reason it's only 190 is because we actually got rid of some of the actual heavier wage players like Martial and a few others during the summer. So Manchester United Football Club was absolutely out of its mind in terms of the way that we utilised resources. Like, it is criminal to be 13th in the table with, I think, only 4 points more than games played at this point in the season on that table, and to have the second highest wage bill. Like, when you look at Manchester United Football Club and you look at those players, most of them aren't playing for that badge. They're not earning that paycheck. They'd be fired if they were part of a multinational corporation for gross underperformance, because they have been underperforming massively. Tequila and you, Dermot, both said that you don't expect to be winning Premier League titles every year, but you do expect to be in the race. And depending on how your fortunes favour you with injuries during that campaign, you may be top 3, you may be top 6 if you're unlucky. And Manchester United Football Club had 1 year where Carlos Casemiro represented value for money. And that was his first year where he fixed an obvious problem that we had in our central midfield. The season after, he basically did not Bobby Firmino, the defensive midfielder at Liverpool. He fell off a cliff. And he hasn't ever been near worth £350,000 per week since then. Like, when you look at Manchester United and you look at the managers that have preceded Ferguson, or come since Ferguson, Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, who incidentally, Levy managed to break in terms of his ability to win trophies. It was the only club that Jose Mourinho didn't win a trophy at. Sorry, guys. But when you look at the way the way they've conducted their business, we're setting managers up to fail by completely and utterly misplacing our resources. When you look at Anthony, the fidget spinner that cost us 70 million, that now is playing in Real Betis, when he could have been bought at the start of that season, when Ten Hag asked for him, he would have been a £30 million mistake. He became a 70+ million pound mistake because wait and see and negligence of people that weren't able to do their jobs at Manchester United Football Club. You talked about Fergie being light, and Colin's going to allude to other stuff with Jim later on. Manchester United Football Club didn't start really showing its issues until after Fergie retired, and that was because David Gill, the guy that could do the job, also left at the same time. And an accountant, and I stress again, an accountant that had no football knowledge whatsoever, was given charge of negotiating for players. And when GMs, and that's what they call him in America, saw him coming, they said, well, we can pull this guy's pants down, do what we want, and get whatever fee we dream up of for this player. Manchester United Football Club was bought for 900 odd million at the start. The debt figure that's there today, which you've now kindly put up on the screen, is the same debt for the initial purchase that we paid over £1 billion in interest on. If anyone, I think we used in Ireland and the UK, we used to have a thing where people were taken out to the square and stoned when they were guilty of crimes. If the Glazers and Levy, probably at this stage, and I think even the Chelsea fans, I believe, want Todd Bowley gone because they think he's a child that's spending money that doesn't have a clue what he's doing, we'd be walking him down the street with the shame bell from Game of Thrones because they have failed their football clubs. Manchester United, and I'm going to finish on this point, is one of 3 or 4 clubs that is involved with an owner that has an NFL franchise.
Yeah.
All the other clubs have allowed, when their teams have been touring in America, to come to their facilities in America to train, to utilize them, and even interact with the NFL players while they're there. The Glazers did not want Manchester United Football Club anywhere within an arse's roar of Tampa because they did not want to see what was being done in the ground there in terms of what was being spent on facilities. So we were never anything other than an ATM card to withdraw money. And Manchester United Football Club is now bearing the scars of that 2 decades of Glazer ownership.
I mean, that's truth bombs. Or you and Tequila are on fire tonight.
I just like
on fire.
Dermot, I'd just like to add to what Rebel said. Rebel, I don't want to see Daniel Levy naked getting stoned though. They're walking through all the people like in Game of Thrones.
Thanks, Tequila.
I wouldn't want to see. I wouldn't want to see that. I want to put my eyes through that.
You can keep his tighty whities on just for you, Tequila.
You can keep.
That's in my head now. Thanks.
Sorry, mate.
Oh, you won't like your birthday present then?
Oh dear.
Damn, I'll take it. Right.
That means Comms kidnapped Daniel Levy, and you're gonna open your door, Dermot. He's gonna be there in his tidy whities waiting for you with a ribbon, with a bow ribbon around him.
I'm just going to clump him one. This is the football clubs in Europe with the most debt, 2024. I know Chill Music put in there Tottenham should be 5th on the debt because of the stadium debt. I don't understand it, but I'm sure Colin, when we do get to about stadiums, I'm sure Colin or Rebel might explain it better because they're more financially sound than I am. I really have no clue about finances. This is all new for me. But the top 5 football clubs with the most debt are Roma on 487 million, Italian. Spanish club, 514 million. Italian club, Inter Milan, 829 million. Premier League, Manchester United, 911 million. I mean, this is just eye-watering. FC Barcelona, Spanish clubs.
That's crazy, Dermot. Look at that.
2.7 billion. So this is a question, a very quick question, sort of a yes or no answer. Is this why the Super League was created back in 2000? Tequila, yeah or nay?
Yeah.
Rebel?
Absolutely. Barcelona is quite possibly one of the most guilty clubs of dark arts financially that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. Colin?
Yeah, of course it is.
I mean, then that 2.7 billion. 900, that's scandalous. I mean, some of these are big clubs, aren't they, Tequila? Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, Roma.
Yeah,
these are not small clubs. These are big
Roma a little bit less though. But Inter Milan and Barcelona, I mean, dominating their own leagues many times, multiple times winners. I mean, I can't get over the Barcelona one, Dermo.
I can.
That's 3 times United says.
Yeah, and they're owned by the government. So the government, Chill Music's put in Tottenham's debt is 677 million in 2023, but this is the debt for 2024 Chill Music. I didn't go back to 2020. I tried to get it more 24, 25 as closely as I could. Just very quickly though, on Tottenham's debt, column or Rebel, I don't know if you two can explain it. How come Tottenham are not in the top 5? Is it because of the restructuring of the deal that it's probably less debt than, say, United's?
I think it depends, doesn't it, on what this is actually looking at. Because if this is looking at FFP standpoint, which some debts do obviously affect FFP, stadium rebuild debts don't actually have any effect on FFP. It's a completely separate pot. So if it's that, I mean, Rebel will have the answer more than likely.
Yeah.
So stadiums are a capital fixed asset on the balance sheet. And for the purposes of FFP and amortization of debt and all those calculations that they utilize to calculate whether you're in compliance with the rules and regulations, it doesn't count towards those calculations because it is a fixed asset and there's different rules around it. So that's why the stadium won't count. And that's why Manchester United could probably spend 2 billion on a new Old Trafford and it won't change anything in terms of FFP.
Yeah, so Rebel just confirmed what I said with just fancy words.
So this was all sort of done. And I tried to do this correctly as I can. As I said, I'm not a financial person. I know nothing about finance, but I tried to do this the best I can. So if I do get things wrong, guys, please do apologize. I'm not financially astute like Rebel is or Column is or Tequila is. I do apologize.
Judging by the looks of this, it looks like it's a combination of purchase price
and
players bought, sold, etc. That's
Yeah.
what it
I
looks
got-
like it is.
Yeah, I got all this from Forbes, so which is a quite respected website and a company. Big up to I don't know, how would you describe that tequila? I'm sorry for me.
Mate, I hope you weren't going to go to me. I don't know. I can't say.
Birdie Radham.
Birderim.
Where's it from? Is it your basic?
Uzbekistan.
Fuck me, we're getting around, lads. We're getting out there. Big up, sir.
Big up, mate.
Welcome to the channel. We've grown. We've gone somewhere near Russia. Big up. Is it near Russia? Uzbekistan?
Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll Google it.
Big up.
Google's your friend. Yeah.
Good up. Please like and subscribe. The killer don't want to send anything to this gentleman. Come and watching us all the way from there. Wow.
YouTube connects us all. There you go. Dan.
Yeah.
It's near Kazakhstan, Afghanistan. So yeah, it's not near Russia.
Wow. Wow. Big up, sir. Big up. I get shocked that people watch us like from places like this, countries like there. It's mind-boggling. It is big up. I just can't believe that. That just bowls me over every time. Now this is Tottenham's 24-25. Little graphs here just to show you what the broadcasting, the commercial, and the match day revenues in. As you can see, over a 4-year period from 2023, from 2020 to 2024, you can see it goes up and down. The same with now. This is what we got at the end of May 2024. Now, Tequila, I'm going to go with you with this. I've got this done for Manchester United as well, guys. So I've gone through your 4-year period from 2020 to 2024. I've done your revenue, your outgoings, and your income, and your valuation of the club and where it had. So I've done a lot of research for this, guys. Now, the owners and the controlling shareholders is Daniel Levy. Now, Lewis Family Trust, they hold the Tottenham Hotspur ownership, and it's in a lawyer until Joe Lewis passes away, and then I think it all goes to his daughter. Operating income, $161 million, which turns out to be £133 million. Commercial, $984 million. Match day, this is for the season, $634 million. Broadcasting, $1.1 billion. That's what we get off the TV money. And debt valued at 33%. The team value is 3.2 billion, which is 2.6 billion pounds, calculated to the end of May 2024. ENIC bought a controlling stake in Tottenham in late 2000, with Daniel Levy becoming chairman early in 2001. Lord Sugar was the club's previous owner and first sold his 29.9% stake to ENIC for 22 million in 2000, before finally leaving the club when he sold his remaining shares of 30% for 25 million. Now, Tequila, this is Tottenham over the last 4 years, between 2020 and 2024. I mean, the club's valuation has gone up. Tequila, we've got lots of money coming in. You look at them year seasons where we could have pushed for leagues or could have pushed for something. We're not short for a few bob, are we, Tequila, really? I know 2020 was COVID, so nobody earned anything. But at 21, 22, 23, 24, the revenue went up. The operating income also sort of fluctuated. And the value's gone up. Are you shocked by that? By the figures I just put up there for Spurs?
I wouldn't say I'm shocked by it. I think it proves that Levy was right when he said that the stadium would increase our finances significantly. Of course, the part that he wasn't telling the truth was about it going into the team, because that is blatantly not happened. And I think that's my personally biggest gripe, is that was the big lie that he sold everyone on for the stadium, and it hasn't come to pass. And that's on him and him alone, really. But no, I mean, I do question some of the values of the team. I think in one of the other PDFs, the team was valued at like 2.3 billion, and it's just like, can't be watching the same players I'm watching. Yeah, for the team value, for that to be the value of the players. I mean, I know it's probably the value that we paid for them, probably, but we're 14th in the league, there, Mo. Is our team worth 2.3 billion?
No, it's not. I mean, you look at the debt and value, guys. What does that debt and value mean? The 33%. I know I'm asking probably stupid question to you guys that you sort of work in this field. You worked in football yourself, Colin. I know, Rebel, you work in the financial world yourself. Is that debt of the 2.6 billion that is owed? What does that mean? Debt and value of 33%.
Well, Rebel's probably the best person to talk to in regards to your financial state, to be fair.
So, approximately, I think what it means is it's the ratio of the debt balance that's on the books of Tottenham Hotspur FC against the perceived value in terms of capital assets and everything else.
I get you. Oh, I get you. I understand. Yeah. All right. I get you now. So that is Tottenham's 4-year sort of cycle from 2020 2024. Our value's gone up to $3.2 billion. Now, this is Manchester United. Now, I reveal that this bit, I'll let Colin and Tequila, Colin and Rebel go through. Do you want to add anything else on Tottenham before we move on to United, Tequila? Do you want to add anything else about the figures or?
I'm not sure there's that much really to add. I think they speak for themselves, don't they? You can see that that needle's only going in one direction, and that's up. While our success on the pitch goes down. Yeah.
And can I just say the revenue includes concerts, includes NFL, includes the Go Cut track, but look, one quick question before we go on to Man United. Is this the blueprint for clubs in the future? How to get in? Look, the incoming's great. You look at us and you look at Man United, we're a better run football club, but we're not a football club. We are an entertainment entity.
Here's the issue with your question. Tottenham Hotspur are ahead of the curve in terms of the stadium that they have capable of providing these different events. If Arsenal, Chelsea, and all the other London clubs all of a sudden were to copy the business model, there'd be a market saturation. So it's only working because Levy got ahead of the queue.
Yeah. But it's not good for us, is it, Tequila? It's not good for our football club because we're not a football club, are we? We're an entertainment business.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like so little goes onto the team, so it just makes you even more sick knowing that the money they're generating and the little they care for. Like I say, no respect for the fans.
No, I genuinely was sick when I did this. You what, Colin?
You're a very expensive hi-fi system.
Yeah. I genuinely was sick when I did this. I genuinely did throw up afterwards, and I'm not lying. I genuinely did throw up. I was sickened to the core.
One stat I do have for you, Dermo, is apparently you do have the longest physical bar in a football stadium.
Yeah, we do. We do. I've actually, can I tell you one thing? We may have the longest physical bar, but the beer is shit there. It's horrible.
Hey, Levy waters that shit down. You know he does, bro.
It's a good job you got the longest physical bar in the Premier League, or probably in England, because judging by your reactions on some watch-alongs I've done with you or watched, God, you look like you need a drink at half-time.
Yeah. Poor old Tequila's had to pick me up a few times this season, haven't you, man? And you and Colin as well. You both had to pick me up once or twice. I don't think You what?
At least you don't have rats.
No, that's true. Can I just say, on the Tottenham point of view, Tequila, thank you for helping me during this season, man. I really appreciate it. Some of the final scores, you've really been there for me. Thank you. So I really appreciate that, man.
Sorry, mate. Trying to help.
As I said before, you could have said, I told you so. You've never had, but I'm sickened by this. Right.
Do it now.
Manchester United, Colin. And Colin's been great too. I'm very lucky with the team I got, as well as Rebel. Everyone's so, when I do go through Tottenham team, Tequila and Colin, like, they're very good. They're in there. Are you okay? And all this. So I'm really, really grateful for the team we have here on this channel. The debt taken on by, and I watched the YouTube channel about YouTube documentary about this the other night, just to help me understand how they took over Manchester United and what they did. And when I watched it, I was genuinely sick by what I was watching. I felt really bad for you and Colin, Rebel. I felt bad for the pair of you, because how they did it was they took advantage of a situation where there was a row between McGuinness and the Celtic owners. They were involved in Celtic as well, over a racehorse, which was a very successful racehorse, by the way, as well. Won lots of one Cheltenham, one He won Group A races, very very popular. Fergie took them to court in Dublin, which was the stupidest thing to do. You don't take Irishmen to court in their own county. Like that's like shooting yourself in your foot. But they did. It divided. It left an opening with the Glazers came in, and the debt was taken on by the Glazers. The finance to takeover was split between the club, the family, between 265 million and 275 million was secured against Manchester United's assets, putting the club into debt for the first time since James Gibson saved them from going out of business in 1931. That in itself is shocking.
Even at that, before you move on, the debt that the family had personally was only temporarily in their name before there was another bit of financial magic done. And the picture that you have there of the two boys, they remind me of the Coneheads. That's what I've taken to calling them now.
That's a terrible movie, Rebel.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, guys, Newcastle United have reached the League Cup final. They have just gone 2-0 up against Arsenal. Anthony Gordon has scored on the 52nd minute, 4-0 on aggregate. So Newcastle 2, Arsenal 1.
It's 5-0 on aggregate, actually, isn't it? Or 4-0? 4-0, sorry.
4-0.
Now, can we offer our thoughts to Martinelli? I think he went off injured. We don't like to see any player going off injured.
Is it
Martinelli
serious?
left the field early in the first half with what looks like a fairly serious injury.
Well, I haven't been covering the match, so I don't know what's going on there. Is it serious? Bit like Bentancur serious or?
They haven't said, but I think he's going to be reviewed in the coming days, and we'll probably find out whether or not he's going to miss time.
Jesus. Now, Column and Rebel revenue. Do you want to go through this, guys? I'll let me know when you want me to move the next PDF. So, Column and Rebel, over to you guys. So, I'll let you talk about your finances of your club, and then when you want me to move on, I'll move on.
I'll read it out, Rebel. You can dissect it all. This is your area of expertise. So, revenue $785 million, operating income 187, match day. Massive match day. 1.28 billion. Broadcasting 1.9 billion, commercial 2.48. I'm presuming that's billion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Debt and value 10%, 6.5 billion calculated May 2024. And then obviously we've got the revenues and everything over the last 4 years. So 2020 revenue none, operating income none. Revenue in 2021 was 643. Operating income 167, value 4.2. Revenue, again, obviously we can see that the revenue is going up and up and up, whilst the operating income's only slightly going up each time. And the club value jumps massively to 6.6 billion from 4.6 in 2022. Rebel.
Okay, so what you have to need to remember in terms of incomes is we have a lot of financial tourism, bizarrely still, especially from the Asian market. And that is helping drive some of the income that Manchester United Football Club has been receiving. But if you were to dissect some of the more major sponsorship deals, there's clauses for failing to qualify for Champions League football. And it's rather penal if it's successive years in which you fail to do a qualification for Champions League football. Manchester United is on the precipice of falling victim to those clauses, which means that the income next season will take a massive nosedive in terms of their commercial partners. Manchester United Football Club also has been trying to battle this profit and sustainability rules that the Premier League have imposed on us. So we have been basically skating on some very thin ice that has a very deep bottom to fall to. Manchester United as a club can't sustain what it's doing at the moment because we're still paying interest at an extraordinary rate. We have a €300 million credit card in terms of transfer fees owed that has been revolving and we're paying interest on. And I suppose to put things into perspective, Sir Jim Radcliffe spent what he spent when he took the portion of Manchester United Football Club that he bought. The value of those shares now has dropped significantly. I think it's in the order of 50% since he bought those shares. So he's got a massive net loss on those shares purchases. Now, that is normal when there's a club going up for sale, that there's an enhanced share price, because obviously people are speculating on when shares are going to be finalized, and if it's publicly traded, there's going to be fluctuations. But when you look at Manchester United Football Club, you look at the squad of players, you look at all the work that's to be done. Like, I think Sir Jim Radcliffe is going out to dig a foundation of a house, but instead of using a big digger to do it, he's got a spoon, a little teaspoon, and he's trying to dig. I was hopeful that maybe we might have had a better impact on the club when he came in. It wasn't the deal that I wanted. I wanted the Coneheads completely gone, but that obviously didn't happen. And I did never, in my wildest dreams, imagine that we could actually get worse than we were. And we've got dramatically worse.
Yeah, you have. You really have. Colin, do you want to add anything to that?
Where do I start? Jesus. I mean, I think this is probably a good time to bring in the whole Radcliffe thing that I had sent to me earlier from our very reliable source. So I basically just asked him about the whole situation of what's going off at United. Obviously, we all know he's very well connected, and he sent me the following. The Glazers, so this isn't Ineos, the Glazers have totally fucked you. And I know people don't like Ineos, but they are literally trying to do their best. I find it absolutely disgusting that the Glazers have managed to do this to a club. It's absolutely shite. When Ineos invested, they didn't realise how bad the club was. After investing and checking the books, they realised it was way worse than what they were planning on getting into. The FA won't get involved at the moment because all clubs have to find their swimming legs, and they won't get involved in that until they do so. You know, at the moment, there's definitely a lot of issues behind the scenes that need rectifying for the good of the club, but it won't happen quickly. Now, obviously, he has told me some more information because I did ask him a few extra questions. So, obviously, both myself and Rebel were all Qatar in. That's what we wanted. We wanted Qatar because we knew exactly what was going to happen, and it has happened the way that we thought. So I did ask him if there was any chance of that, and all I got back from him was, I won't say no because there are small talks happening, nothing major, but Qatar still want Manchester United.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then I am pleading, and I don't plead, I am pleading for the Glazers and Sir Jim Radcliffe to take the money and go, because neither one of them are financially able to run this club. Manchester United are in so much debt, we cannot even sign a player on a £5 million loan deal. That is how bad we are. If we don't get Europe for next season, we are fucked. 100%.
Are you looking at administration?
At the minute, we don't know. That is the truth of it. At the minute, they don't know. If the books are as bad as what they think they are, or what I've been told they are, then it's going to be a case of we get European football and we can operate at some level like we have done this season. If not, we are going to have to sell our players such as Garnacho's, Mainu's, Ahmad's, just to be able to get through next season.
Jesus. Just very quickly, Tequila, I've just got it up here in Forbes. You've had a 9% value change in the last year Tottenham have had a 14% change, value change in the 1 year change. So Tequila, look, we all want Levy out. We know about the Amanda Stavely stuff, and I know that's gone quiet at the moment. There's a lot we can say, but we can't say because, to be honest, and this is the God honest truth, me, Tequila, have signed NDAs, haven't we, Tequila, on this? So we cannot say everything that we want to know from our source because we've agreed to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to take over. Manchester United need to take over. But Pete, there will be fans asking us, Tequila, you and me, why do you want Levy? Why do you want a takeover at Tottenham? You're doing so well. And what would your answer be to that?
Well, I'd say you'd have to change your terminology a little bit because listening to Com and Revel, they quote unquote they need a takeover.
Yeah,
we don't need a takeover.
No,
we can
just
continue.
Want one.
We can continue. Yeah, we can continue just plodding along.
Yeah,
and I hopefully this is a bit of a freak season because normally under Levy we don't finish in the second part of the table.
No, we don't.
Normally, I think our average under ENIC is 6th or 7th. I think of what our average is. It's going to drop a bit after this year. So we don't need it, Dermo. We want it. It sounds like from what Com and Revel are saying, they need it just for their club to be able to function. We don't need it. We just really want it because we're fed up of the status quo.
We are.
I mean, just point something out, Dermot, before you go. You said about a 3 or 9% differential. Sir Jim Ratcliffe paid $33 per share. The club is now valued at $16 per share. There's a drop of 16% in value in the last, 19% in the last year on share value, which is coming up to the anniversary of the takeover.
Yeah. I mean, it says here in February, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos Group acquired 27% stake in Manchester United for 1.3 billion, was approved by the Premier League. In addition to the purchase price, Ratcliffe invested 300 million. Now, am I right, the guys, to say you were before that investment, you were in shit street at that time as well, weren't you? At that, there was stuff going around. There was stuff happening even then, wasn't there?
The other problem there was the Rat Coneheads put in the legal fees for examining the takeover into the book. So when Jim's money started hitting the accounts, it was hitting an enhanced debt that those despicable Americans added to the club. So, like, Jim and Ineos are looking at a 500 million loss in dollar terms on their investment since they actually became part of Manchester United. So, from a business perspective, this turned out to be a disaster for them. Like, we're noticing that Ineos are selling a part of their sanitization wing just to kind of cover the fact that Sir Jim is actually not the owner of those shares anymore. He's actually transferred them into Ineos itself. Like, Manchester United Football Club, with the way that there's been money withdrawn in dividends, with everything else that's been happening, is so far in the hole. Like, if we were a racehorse that broke our leg going around Cheltenham, the shotgun would have been taken out.
Yeah, you would have been put down by now. It's shocking.
I spoke to somebody, Dermo, about this. About Sir Jim and whether he's actually got the funds to be able to run Manchester United.
Yeah.
And I got called a moron and an idiot because Sir Jim is a billionaire. Right, okay. So if he is a billionaire, why is he struggling? You know, because he's having to sell a company. Now, I did a bit of research. Sir Jim is a billionaire because of all the investments. All of his money is pretty much tied up into Ineos. He doesn't have 14 billion sat in a bank account. You know what I mean? He's there because he can liquidate assets to earn that money. And this is what's happening with part of Ineos's group with this hygienics. He's having to liquidate assets because he has no money.
Yeah, his non-liquid assets are probably in the order of 29 billion. But I'd say if you were to look at his cash count and what he can convert into cash quickly, it's probably in the order of maybe $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, Tequila, Joe Lewis was a former owner, who is now gone into a trust. But he never put a penny into Tottenham, did he? I mean, he's worth 6.3 billion as real-time net worth. Now, to be fair,
Dermo, the
Yeah,
rumors
go on.
are he doesn't even like football.
no, he doesn't. And I mean, you got owners there at United just wrecking a football club. You got we have a billionaire owner that doesn't put a penny into our football club. They're an
Can I come in
investment.
quickly.
Yeah,
You said about needing owners to put in money. Manchester United Football Club doesn't actually need an owner if we're put on parity. We can function ourselves with our commercial scalability. But because of the hole we've been put in by what's been thrown in from bad owners, we are finding ourselves that we need someone to come in, basically take a broom, sweep through the whole thing, and put us back in a parity situation. And then we'll be able to function because we'll be able to generate income once we have our legs put back under us. But that's the big if.
And that's what Qatar was willing to do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Sheikh Jassim was going to come in and wipe the debt clean. He wasn't going to take any money back. He was going to wipe the debt clean and be like, right, that's all sorted now. Let's get the stadium sorted. Don't worry. We'll pay for that as well because we're the owners of Manchester United. When it comes to transfers, we know you earn enough money from transfers, cup competitions, seats sold, shirts sold, all this kind of stuff. He knew all that. He was like, anything you bring in until whenever, if you need the money, I'll put the money in. But obviously, it can only be a certain amount. But you'll be able to substantially sustain yourself because of how much money you bring in. And we've not been able to do that. Even though we bring in stupid amounts of money, all of it's going on debt repayments, which we're not actually making a dent into at all. It's literally fluctuating around the same as it's always been. And the Glazers' pocket.
Yeah.
That is literally all it's doing.
I mean, at least from an outsider looking in, right? You're still the biggest club in the world.
Yeah.
Commercially and everything, you're still the biggest club in the world. So yeah, if you had a clean slate, that would fix it all, wouldn't it?
It'd be like that. You'd be like under what you were under the Edwards family.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. And we're not asking. I don't know whether Rebel's asking for the same as me. I'm not asking for a multi-billionaire to come in and throw cash at the club. I'm asking somebody to come in and put Manchester United back to the state that it was before the Glazers took over.
Yeah,
that's all I want. I want debt cleared and us to be able to sustain ourselves like we used to do.
You see, we were there once ourselves. I mean, I know Tequila probably doesn't remember it. I don't think you would. I think Rebel, you would remember it like me, and I know some of the people in chat. And I apologize if I haven't got to the chat tonight. I know a lot of you put chats in. We normally bring them up. We do apologize, but this is such an important subject, and it means something to us that I've sort of forgot the chat tonight. So I do apologize, but we do appreciate you putting comments in. We do thank you for doing it. Thank you for hit the like button, hit the subscription button. We will get to our channel sponsor at the end as well, guys. So we will do that. But I remember when Ivan Scholar took us over, and there was a war between the families that owned Tottenham, and then he took over back in 1983, I think, 82, 83. Then we were the first team to go onto the stock exchange. We then he then took companies like Hummel. He bought them over and tried to do what Levy's done, but he done it in the 80s, because that time it was all Maggie Thatcher businesses. It was all, if you ever watch Only Fools and Horses, you see Del Boy with the file of facts, and there was a film, what was it called back then? Wall Street, with Michael Douglas.
Greed is good.
Yeah, Greed is good. And that was Ivan Scholar sort of thing. But we nearly went bust. We nearly went out of existence. And I know what pain you two are going through, because I went through that pain. You're not knowing if your football club's going to survive or not. And we went through that with Tottenham in the late 80s, early 90s. Midland Bank, we're looking for 8 million quid. 8 million quid's nothing now. But back then in the late 80s, early 90s, 8 million quid was a hell of a lot of money. We were looking to sell Paul Gascoigne for 5-6 million quid to Lazio before he damaged his knee. So if it wasn't for Alan Sugar and Terry Venables coming in and saving our football club and laying the foundations down to where we are today, Tottenham, we wouldn't be doing this. There'd be no THFC till I die. So Man United are in the same state we were back, if I'm right, back in the late 80s, early 90s, where you're on the brink of either going into administration or going under altogether, because the financial weight that the Glazers have you under is too much for you to carry. That could the whole cards could collapse. House of Cards could collapse under itself.
See, the one thing I will say about that, Dermo, is I truly believe, and I don't think it's right, even though it's my club. The FA will never let Manchester United go under.
Oh no, I sort of
ever
no,
because Man United is such a big pull to the Premier League, you know, in English football that they won't let Manchester United fold at all. But I mean, I don't agree with that. It's not right, because why the clubs get special treatment? They shouldn't. All clubs should be the same.
Can I ask you quickly? Is United the only club that did that for? Or would you say clubs like Arsenal would be the same?
Yeah, I think there's certain clubs that do the same for. Yeah. I don't think all clubs. Obviously, I think Liverpool, you're probably putting that bracket as well.
Southampton, not so much.
Yeah, maybe not a Southampton or an Ipswich or someone like that, you know.
I mean, that's the question I've got, guys. How long before we see the Premier League clubs, Premier League go in to help clubs before they go into administration, or even worse, bankrupt?
Here's the thing for me, Dermot, on that front. If Manchester United, being the first one that could creak under the pressure, gets to the stage where they're being threatened with liquidation, threatened with administration, at that point, Manchester United will go up for sale. There's no doubt in my mind about that, because Manchester United Football Club as an entity will no longer have value to the greedy Americans that currently own the majority of the club. They're not going to want to go down and trying to sell for £1 in 1,000 or whatever it would be the reality of that happening. And there'd be a very quick deal done, because we have seen it with non-league or with League of Ireland, or not League of Ireland clubs, with Championship clubs and League One clubs, where they've gone up for sale and it has stopped the process of putting them into that position. Sure, they might get a points deduction for going into that level of financial difficulty, but I think there's no way Manchester United gets to the point where the receivers are putting a padlock on the doors. And I suppose when we started doing football chat, Dermot, I wanted to have the banter about, oh, look at you, Spurs, and your Harry Kane, and he can't score on the blind in the bar and the rest of it. And I suppose I started by talking about Best, Law, and Charlton. And I'm imagining the three of them sitting up above, looking down and kind of going, holy God, what has happened to Manchester United Football Club?
And Matt Busby.
Manchester United has been in the doldrums before.
Yeah.
This event behind me set us back into a cataclysmic event that is unprecedented in the history of our club before that.
Yeah.
We have come back from worse.
Yeah.
We will come back again. But it's going to take an extraordinary event to stop the rot. And as Colm said, we need our legs put back underneath us. And once we're put right and standing again, it's probably going to take a half a decade to be competitive.
Yeah, it will. It will. I just want to finish on one thing, guys. Now, there is some saving grace for you lads. I did talk to you last night about this, didn't I, Colm? About this. Now, I've done my bit of research, and boy, it hurt my eyes and my brain. This sent me to sleep, Tequila. Do you know what? People watching this, Tequila, very quickly and think, I swear to God, they think of what a Tottenham fans moaning about. Do you know that? It's going to come across that way in a way, isn't it?
Off the pitch, I don't think we can compete. On the pitch, we're both terrible. But off the pitch, I don't think it's much of a competition, really.
No. It is. Now, this is the land that Manchester United want to redevelop. With the new stadium, the government are going to do a bit of redevelopment as well. But in that little bit of plot of land in that red zone, Manchester United own a section of that. Now, I did watch Mr. Goldbridge. Can I just say this because I know, but he brought it up and it was interesting. And I was
Com's favorite
bored.
person. Com loves him. Thank
I know.
you.
I was bored, and I wanted to watch something to put me to sleep, and he put me to sleep. So thank you very much, Mr.
Why are you
Goldbridge.
watching the Forest channel, Dermot?
Well, because of this. This is a section that Manchester United own. 14, 15A, 15B, and 15C. This is the reason why the Glazers won't sell Manchester United. All the rest of it can be redeveloped, and I think they're getting government funding to redevelop that area, but not government funding for the stadium. Colin, and I will bring Rebel in this. Do you want to explain to people why 15A, B and C, and 14 is so vital to A, Manchester United, and B, the Glazers?
Well, I don't know if Rebel knows a whole lot about this. He probably does because he's very tuned in. So what it is that whole red section, the outline, isn't owned by United. That is the development section that the Greater Manchester Council want to redevelop. So that area there is what the Greater Manchester want to redevelop. However, those little sections that are in there, that 15A, 15B, 15C, and 14, are owned by Manchester United. Now, they don't look big, but those plots of land are significant because it's slap bang in the middle of what they want to build. Now, those plots of land are going to probably earn, because the Glazers will sell them, 100% the Glazers will sell them, but they're going to earn the Glazers hundreds of millions of pounds just for those 4 plots of land. And the Glazers know this. They have done their research. They've known that this redevelopment thing was going to happen years ago. You know, the plans are in works, and they've gone, well, we've got this bit of land. Each plot of land, let's say we sell it for 200 million each. There's 4 plots of land, that's 800 million pounds straight into our pocket. Thank you very much. So we'll continue. We'll just continue to stay for as long as we can, and hopefully we can get the benefits of selling these bits of land to the Greater Manchester Council, and then we'll pocket a nice little profit, and then we'll decide to bugger off.
I'm dumbstruck. I don't know how you feel, Tequila. Are you dumbstruck by that?
No. No.
Tequila's like me.
No, I'm not at all.
I'm not. Why I'm saying dumbstruck is I just cannot believe how greedy, and I know the Glazers are bad, right? But Jesus, they're like fucking. They're like sucking vampires out of that club.
Greed is good, Dermo. You just talked about the film Wall Street.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I want to ask Rebel, because obviously this is pertaining to our club. Those plots of land there, Rebel, would be ideal for a new stadium. It's not very far away from Old Trafford. It's still got the links with a train station. It's got the road links as well. Why? Well, we know why. How much of an issue is this going to actually cause?
Well, I just want to kind of point out that within that red boundary that you so kindly did the map for is hotel football. The love child of Gary Neville and a few of the class of '92, and they did invite the Glazers to get involved in hotel football. And this, for me, is why I think people overestimate the intelligence of these American frauds that claim they're businessmen, because they turn their nose up at a chance to get a slice of the pie. But if they were kind of businessmen that were attuned to football and attuned to Manchester United and what it could potentially yield for them, they would have ran this football club in a complete different way. They would have had the football club purring like a machine. They may have been robbing it out the back door, but everything would have looked perfect optically from the outside. In terms of that plot of land, I would have to see what the title of each of those sections of land would declare as the owners. If it's Manchester United Football Club as a going concern, even though the main shareholders are the two coneheads and their siblings, it doesn't necessitate that they can, I suppose, garner full value of the sale of those plots of lands out of it. And the reason why I say that is, as part of the deal to kind of acquire the percentages of shares that he did, Sir Jim pretty much put a stop to any withdrawal of coin in the ways of interest or directors' payments. So they would have to have those plots of land in a holding company that is not under the umbrella of the main Manchester United holding company, and where they would be seen as the 100% beneficiaries of any transactional considerations that would accrue from the sale of those lands to either Manchester Council or direct to Manchester United Football Club in order to build. So I'm not sure it's the smoking gun that we think it is. We'd have to look deeply into the fine print of the title of each of those sections of land and how it is basically structured in terms of the ownership.
Yeah, I think so too. Tequila, do you want to add anything on this last point before we end off?
Not really. I do get little flashbacks, and it's only flashbacks because I know it's not exactly the same thing. But I do remember when we were trying to build our new stadium.
Yeah,
and there was one or two holdouts, wasn't there? When we wanted to build the stage. Remember certain businesses who we couldn't get. It reminds me a little bit of that. I know it's not exactly the same, but looking at this, it does remind me of that we had to go through quite well. Levy did anyway to buy out those last remaining businesses, I suppose, who didn't want to sell up to him, did they?
No.
In the end, I believe the council had to get involved and everything like that. I think to convince them to kind of sell up so that we could build the new stadium. So,
I think tonight is, guys, it really is on our side. It's about on the pitch. It's about trophies. They're time for change. 24 years, 16 managers, one trophy. That's for right. This is why we want new ownership. For Manchester United, I think they want new ownership for survival, the survival of Manchester United. So this is why both channels are now going to come together. We're going to do this as a joint protest for both clubs. Our clubs need saving for different reasons. We're not financially like you guys down below, but we want it for on the pitch issues. You need it for off the pitch issues, if you know what I mean. So, and on the pitch as well. Now,
can I just add something, Demo, quickly?
Yeah, of course you can.
That is one thing to Rebel and Com. Success is relative, and even though you guys are really bad on the pitch, you've still won a couple of cups over the last couple of years. So, from us Spurs fans, your failures are our successes. Do you know what I mean? What you class as failures on the pitch, we could only dream of. And that's where I think the big difference is regarding why we want our owners out so much, is because even your worst years are better than our best years. Your worst years are better than our best years.
Yeah.
That's quite sad,
point,
but it's true though. Yeah.
It is.
Because I actually looked back at just the Ten Hag trophy haul.
Yeah.
And scarily, despite how good Spurs squads have been over the years, it's 30 years of Spurs history to match what Ten Hag won, which is abysmal in terms of if you're holding your director of football, your owner accountable, that's shocking.
Yes.
Because it takes 30 years to match a bad, poorly run Manchester United Football Club.
It is. Colin, there is a protest, isn't there, on the 16th of February? Because we do play you guys on the 16th. It is from Change for Tottenham. I think 19, isn't it? Your protest, is it 19? They're called?
1985.
1985.
Oh, no, so 1958, sorry. 1985.
1958. They're looking to come together and do a joint march. But what's happening on that? Because you gave me some, well, our source gave us some information the other day, which didn't sound too positive from your point of view.
No.
So
no.
what is the latest that you can tell us? I mean, look, firstly, we urge everyone to turn up to the protest. We need, from our point of view, we need everyone to turn up to protest against Levy, put pressure on the board, put pressure on the board to sell, put pressure on people to come in and buy our football club and make a successful game. We may be a success off the pitch, but on the pitch, we're not. We need trophies. This is what we all want football for. So, but on your side, it's getting a little bit, can I use the word scary? Is that the right word to use?
It is. So the protest from United fans officially is going to start on Friday. Friday probably will be more or less a peaceful protest. Fans are calling people to boycott the game, not turn up, or go and then empty the stadium in the protest. However, it does seem like things could be getting a little bit more heated, as there are other groups as well, none that I'm actually associated with, but other fan protest groups that are willing to take a more violent approach, which is not what we want to see. We saw what happened when Manchester United was supposed to play Liverpool and that game got called off. It was very aggressive and violent, and certain members of the club think, certain members of the fan base think that is the only way they're going to get through, and are very well potentially trying to get the Tottenham game postponed by causing a lot of disturbances. Again, it's only what they're saying. Whether or not it actually goes ahead, it's a completely different thing. It might just end up being, they come to the senses and join a peaceful protest.
Com, can I ask you, and be honest, do you think that is the right approach or not? I mean, to make a point.
No. I don't think you should use violence at any time to try and prove a point, because at the end of the day, what are you actually going to solve? All you're doing is damaging the club's reputation, and if it's at home, you're damaging your already fallen apart structure, and also if it's away, you're damaging somebody else's property. So
were they threatening to what? Do stuff to their own stadium and stuff? What were they thinking of destroying, so to speak?
Is it like what they did against Liverpool?
Yeah, basically the same thing they did against Liverpool. They were breaking in, making sure the game can't go ahead, all that kind of stuff.
Not letting teams leave the hotel and stuff like that, wasn't there?
Exactly. Yeah, and Chill's saying there they'll get arrested and banned. Violence doesn't solve anything. Violence just assumes more violence. It's not the way forward. Peaceful protests are all welcome to happen. Nobody can stop a peaceful protest, but as soon as you break the law, then you deserve to be punished for that.
And whatever about damage to fixed assets, we don't want that. But where things get violent, there's always the chance that an innocent bystander, somebody that's there with their little kid that wanted to go to the game, gets caught in a surge and gets badly hurt, and that is where people go out of control and don't use rational thinking. It's always a risk factor, and we do not want to see any match-going person getting caught in any sort of accidental loss of, bodily function.
Yeah. No. The only other thing I've got for you, Dermo, is I know certain members of the Man United protest group, the United Foundation and all that kind of jazz, are planning on just doing a nice peaceful protest, a march from wherever they are to the stadium on both games against Leicester and Spurs. And I think Spurs are supposed to be marching with them as well. Yeah. For this change for Tottenham, they're supposed to be marching alongside of the Manchester United march.
Yeah. I think there is. Look, from my point of view, and I'm sure Tequila, I'll let you have your saying it as well. I don't think violence should be. I think it all should be condoned. I think it should be done peacefully. It should be done rightly, as Rebel rightly said. There'll be a lot of families going to that game. Women, children should be. Someone get caught in it. as much as you love your football club, violence should never be the way to make your point. It should be done peacefully. It should be done rightly. And I know Chill says protesters won't help owners sell the club. In my opinion, they do. It will. It puts it out there. It puts it in the news. It puts it in the papers. It puts it out there that clubs, that these owners are not good enough. Tequila, last word on this. I'm sure you will condone any violence or anything like that.
I'm not condoning it, but I've heard. Okay, so the stuff I've heard, maybe that's from last year, not this year, but I'll mention it. But I have heard people coming up with ideas to go to, and I've mentioned this to you before, Dermo. Going to Levy's private estate, for lack of a better term, and protesting there. And I think that's where you're crossing the line. Even though I don't think it was meant to be violent, I think going to somebody's personal property and doing that is probably a step too far. But that's what I'm bringing up. What is the step too far? I agree that violence is, but where do you draw the line? Do you guys think it's okay to go to somebody's personal residence whose family might be there, who obviously play no role? Is that stuff okay, even if it's peaceful, even if there's not violence? You think that's too far? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it is too far.
Point, Tequila. And again, I suppose when we're thinking of the memories of people that are lost in tragic accidents, these people wouldn't want people to get hurt because of protests. They would not want, I suppose, innocent members of bad owners' families to get caught up in protests. And I suppose when you look at Manchester United, it's important for the news to be covering the fact that there's this quiet in terms of dissatisfaction with the ownership at Manchester United Football Club and at Tottenham Hotspur. But I think from a Manchester United point of view, the biggest hope that we have of the Glazer family leaving is if their business assets start to come under pressure in America, and that they will need to utilize their shareholding in United to plug those gaps. And ironically, if Donald Trump issues all these levies and all these things against Europe, and it makes the cost of owning those shares, I suppose, not worth it to the Americans, that may cause American owners en masse to rethink owning big financial assets abroad.
Yeah,
True.
that's a good point. That's a
True.
very good point.
Yeah.
Just last point, then we'll end up, guys. We'll get you to plug your channels as well, guys, and plug where everyone can find you. On the Tottenham thing, we just got to keep in the stadium Levy out, isn't it, Tequila? That's all we can keep doing, isn't it? Keep singing Levy out.
Yeah,
keep up the protests, keep up it going, and time for change, isn't it? It's time for change.
Yeah, I mean, chill music, he's right to a degree that we still need to find somebody willing to come in and pay the money. But it might make them sell for a bit lower. That's the most I'm hoping from it. That's me personally. I think that's the best we can hope for with Levy.
I agree with you, man.
It might be slightly different for the lads for United, like I say, because their situation seems quite different from where we're at, where they need to get somebody in just to make sure the club survives. I guess we're fortunate that we don't find ourselves in that position. Bless.
But we want success on the pitch. That's important. We were given eye tooth to gamble.
I think it's long overdue. I think considering how long it's been, so it's long overdue.
I think you and me would give our back teeth to have a little bit of the success Man United have had over the last 24 years. To be fair,
back-to-back cups. I think if we had back-to-back cups, I think Mr. Levy would be quite safe. To be honest,
we haven't done back-to-back cups since 81-82. When we won back-to-back FA Cups. Bill Nick would be looking down in disbelief at this football club. And he was the man that built Tottenham. He was Mr. Tottenham. He would be horrified to see what's happening to our club. A bit like Sir Matt Busby would be horrified to see what's happening to his beloved Manchester United. Guys, that is it. That is, we never did really get to the question, is Sir Jim Levy in disguise? I'm sure Colin will give that answer or when they're given where we can find them. Look, we very quickly, Tequila, we've got League Cup semi-final tomorrow. We've got match day. We've got the watch along. We've got final score. What's your score prediction for tomorrow? Are we going to reach Wembley? Newcastle are there. is going to be a Tottenham Newcastle final. Will you hear me tomorrow night sing Spurs are on the way to Wembley?
Yes, via penalties.
I love you, Tequila. I love you.
It'll be 2-1. And it will go to penalties, and we'll win on penalties. There you go. That's probably the most optimistic thing that I've said all year, and will say all year.
Do you know what? I'm gonna get Column to actually just copy that little bit.
Yeah, look, even I'm allowed a moment of delusion every now and again.
Yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 win. I think we can go up there and beat them. I really do.
Not even giving them a goal. We don't keep clean sheets. I love you, Demo.
Well, look, we did. I went for a 3-0 win Sunday, and we got a clean sheet. So I was right. So I'm sticking to that. But guys, yeah, do please hit the like button on this channel, hit the subscription button as well on the March to 3K. Guys below, Rebel and Column, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, we are going to do more of these during the season, these protest shows. Colin, with you first, thank you so much for everything you do for our channel. I know you do a lot of work behind the scenes for us. So thank you very, very much. Where can people find you first, sir? And what's your score prediction for tomorrow night, actually, out of general interest?
As much as I want you to go to the land of cars without tyres and beat the scummy little bin dippers, I don't think you will. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 to Liverpool. My heart wants you to win. My heart wants you to absolutely annihilate it, because I cannot stand Liverpool at all, the dirty little scroats. That's my Man United cap on.
Tell us how you really feel, Con. Tell us how you
I think he wants me to see me go mental on screen. I think that's what he wants to say.
Mate, I would give my left nut for you to beat Liverpool and knock them out of it. I would, because I cannot stand the club. They're just dirty. But you can find me here. I do appear here from time to time, although I'm doing a lot of work in the background at the moment. If me and Rebel can ever be bothered to get off our backsides, you will catch us over on MUFC Spotlight as well. We did used to do shows, and then I got lazy, and Rebel probably got lazy with me, and we just stopped doing shows. But we will come back, probably next season, though, now, to be fair, because I don't want to talk about this season because it's a shit show. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Oh, and Play Pouch.
Yeah, on Play Pouch. And also on Match Day Live.
Match Day
Is it
Magic? Yeah,
Magic.
Which again,
we've got lazy on that as well.
That's had the same fate as my Man United channel.
Yeah. I think though we are in talks of THFC Sports Channel. That is something that we're talking about at the moment. So that may appear. It may do, because you may get a wrestling podcast between Column and Tequila.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They're like talking a bit like Randy Savage and all them. I must admit, the women on wrestling are quite good looking, actually, to be fair.
Careful now. Careful now.
Yeah, well, you can't say that anymore, Dan. You're not allowed.
I'm old. I'm not ancient.
Athletes.
Oh, is that what they're called? Okay, right.
Some of them are really jacked. Them. Some of them are like female Arnold Schwarzeneggers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not my thing. Sorry, not my thing.
Nah.
Right, Rebel. Where can people find you, sir?
Well, as Colin said, if we manage to kind of motivate ourselves and get cracking MUFC Spotlight on X, I'm Kerry_Rebel. And as for score predictions, I think it'll largely depend on what team Arnie Slot puts out.
Yeah.
They are only playing Plymouth, I believe, at the weekend in the FA Cup, so I'd imagine that's where they'll rest the players ahead of that second Premier League fixture that they will have to play midweek next week. If they play their almost full strength side, I could see them possibly winning 2-0. But like Colum, I hope and pray that he deprive them of a cup and just send them into defeat. So, like, if he score, I think he go through.
Yeah.
So you've got two on loan fans tomorrow in me and Rebel.
And quickly, FA Cup prediction for Friday. Ruud van Nistelrooy to put further pain on Manchester United. 1-0 defeat.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Now, we're going to beat Leicester. We're going to beat them 17-1. Rasmus Højlund's going to score the 1 for Leicester. And it's going to be Bayern Dia is going to score 16. And we're going to get 1 goal off of Bruno Fernandes.
Actually, just coincidentally, the Arsenal striker that we signed that has been seen as very much a prodigy, didn't feature in the under-18s the last day. So it sounds like
he's
been
playing. We've got Hayes is playing as well at weekend against Leicester. That other young lad we brought in. Sorry, a bit of news for you.
You know what, Tequila? We've got tugged into a Man United love in here, haven't we?
I'll tell you what, it's making me a little bit jelly actually, because United have always had so many great players coming through their academy, and I think we've got Mikey Moore, but he looks like the only one really. He's probably
we bought an Irish lad today as well from St. Pat's. We bought for 1.1 million.
This is what I mean. We've got to buy ours. Rhodes United actually comes through their academy. So
we stole 2 from Arsenal. To be fair.
Yeah. Wow, that don't count.
They're both from Arsenal.
What was it? It was the most expensive Irish player to come from the League of Ireland to the Premier League. 1.1 million today.
He's playing the entire season, I believe, with his Irish club. He's not coming to you till next January.
No, next January. Yeah. So
and sorry, Dermo, I'm going to say this, and I'll let you finish up because I'm not going to talk about it. I am not talking about it tonight. But I will say this, and I'm sure you'll be messaging me trying to get more information, and I'm not going to tell you fuck all until tomorrow. Talks have happened after a 10% investment failed into Tottenham Hotspur. A certain country is now going for full takeover talks. And that is all you're getting from me.
Do you know what, Tequila? What a bombshell to end it on.
He's gone.
Can I just say that is a bombshell, isn't it? On that
he's just
bombshell.
Gone. Look at that. He's just mic dropped the mic.
So on that bombshell,
he's back.
We're going to end it on. There's somebody going to buy Spurs.
Dum, dum,
Could 24 years of pain finally be coming to an end?
He didn't say what country though. It might be like it could be like a really small country, don't we?
Actually, before you go, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
you old git.
Happy birthday to you. Chucky Gerlaw.
Thank you very much. And guys, thank you. I'm embarrassed now. Thank you.
Phone demo because I'm going to bed.
I know. I'll speak to you in the morning. You can let me know in the morning. That's fine, mate. I'm gonna go and cook. I'm gonna have my dinner after this because I'm starving. But listen, guys, thank you so much for tonight. I hope you do enjoy this show. There will be another one. We'll organise this again, won't we, guys? As the season goes on for more protest talks, where we're getting with the protests, what's happening with our clubs. Well, I think in the summer,
in a couple of weeks, it's against some small London club.
Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully you help Rebel. You'll join us for the pre-match for the build up to the Man United game.
Hopefully.
We could talk about football instead of money, which I would prefer. But thank you for watching, guys. Do get over to MUFC Spotlight and hit the like and subscribe over there. Please get over to Tequila. And where can people find you, sir?
The Play Pouch.
Forgot.
No, it's all right. The Play Pouch Gaming channel. Me and Com were meant to do a show tonight, but I had problems with Discord. So we'll rearrange it for later
on. StreamYard.
I hate Discord, man. But yeah, so sorry, guys, if anyone was watching it, because we kind of started the stream and then had to kind of cancel it. But we'll rearrange it for whenever Com's free next, and then we'll do it again.
But yeah, get over there. But you can find Tequila with me. You're not with me tomorrow, so when's the next time we're seeing you, Tequila?
We can talk about it later. It can be Friday or Saturday, depending on what you want. You probably want me for the Sunday game, so probably Friday. I guess.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow, guys, we are on at 7, an hour before. We're shaking up a little bit. We're on now an hour before kick up every game tomorrow at 7 for the build up to the Liverpool game. Then we've got final score afterwards. After the game, win, lose or draw, we will do final score. And on that bombshell, under the bombshell, can you just repeat that bombshell again for us, Colin, just so we can end it off?
No.
There we are then.
And a
Bless
very good
him.
night to you.
Tequila, do you want to take us out?
Don't think I can top what Com did. Okay. Well, quiz. Come on, United. There you go. Lovely. See we are, mate.
Eyes on the prize.